So the fast track you'll see up in here. What I can do is actually I can do a quick search for tasks or projects directly from in here. So if I'm going to search for, I know I have a project here called Power Session 1. I'm just going to track time on this meeting task. I'm just going to set it for 3 hours. And this was a meeting. It's my comment, and I want to save it. So when I save it, I can see that it directly forwards me to the timesheet where the task is, and you can see it with how many hours that you tracked on it. So what I will show you is actually that this function also has a setting for the search. So almost always as default, this is set to search in my task. These are tasks that I'm actually allocated to. If I want to change it to search in all tasks, I can do that. And this will give me the option to search in general tasks, like projects that are meant for everyone to track time on. I'm not allocated to it, but I'm available to track time on it. So this is a good function to use. If you sometimes cannot find your task in my task, you can change the search and search in all tasks, and then it will most probably show. Be aware that this setting is something that needs to be activated by an administrator. So if you don't have it, please contact them for further instructions. So one more thing that we often hear in support is that if an employee has a gray field in the timesheet, they believe it's locked or something is wrong. But actually, a single gray field is most often caused by multiple registration on the same task. So I will just want to show you how you can fix it yourself. So as you remember, I just registered time on this project for session 1 and the meeting. So if I'm during the day thinking, oh, but I have another meeting, it's still the same project, it's still the same task, and I want to track hours again. Let's say this was 2 hours and this was a follow-up or something like that. So it's not the same comment, it's another one. So when I save it here, you'll see that it doubles here, or it multiplies the hours here. So it goes from 3 to plus 2 to 5. So this has now become a gray field. I cannot edit it. I cannot click in it. It's just, it feels like it's locked, but actually it's not. You can actually see if I do a mouse over that there's multiple registrations in here. So what I would like to show you is how you can edit it. So if you go up, you can see you have 2 tags here. You have the timesheet, which we're on right now, and you also have the detailed timesheet. So you actually need to go in here where you can see your registrations. So now you see those 2 registrations here. We can see that it has different comments. We have a follow-up and we have a meeting, 3 hours and 2 hours, which gives the total of 5. So if I say, oh, this was actually wrong, it was only supposed to be 3 hours, so I can actually just delete it, the other one here, or I can change, oh, it wasn't 2 hours, it was only 1, so I just have to edit it here. So this is where you can actually then edit if you see a gray field in here. Be aware that if the whole row within the timesheet here, if it's a whole row of tasks that is grayed out, it is because the task has been completed. So if it's not only a single field, but it's the whole row, then the task has been completed and the project manager or an administrator need to enter the project and set the task to ongoing on the allocation. So it's not a bug, or it's not locked or anything, but it needs to be reopened from the project. If instead the whole week is grayed out, like every fields are gray, it's most likely due to the timesheet has been submitted and you need to contact your administrator. This is if you use approval or something like that. So let's continue. So if you see the timesheet here, I would like to show you how you can actually mark favorites in here. So this is my timesheet right now. you see a lot of tasks and you may have trouble finding the right task to register on. So I recommend that we use favorite markings. So I'm just going to scroll down and see if I can find where the registration I just made before is. So see, this is a long list of tasks here. So here it is. I actually have the option to mark this task because let's say I'm using it very often. I would like to mark it as a favorite. Simply just click on the star. I know that this task is also very good for me. I also have the power session number 2. Let me mark these. And I also use some absence codes. These are right here. Oh, I see it's in Danish, but let's say this is vacation and I have illness here. So these are my favorites too. So the trick is then to set the correct view for your task. So even though these are my favorites right now, you can actually see in the top that I'm also having the view to show all. So I would like to show you how you can easily change that. So what you'll see in here is your options for the view. So right now I'm showing all. These are all tasks that I've been allocated on or previously registered on. So these are now my tasks able to register on. But if I change it to my favorites, these are now my favorites. These are the ones that have been marked. So I marked these as favorites. So now they only show. So I can easily just say, well, I spent 1 hour here on Tuesday, 3 hours here on Wednesday. So it's very easy to get a compact view for this one. Can also change my view to show tasks with hours. So right now you see the 4 markings for tasks and you have some absence as well. But if I show this one, I will only see the ones that I've actually registered time on. So this could also mean no favorites or favorites. So this could mean all tasks that you have actually registered time on. And the last option, my project assignments, will actually show you which project and task have you been allocated to. So I know that I've been allocated to these 2 as well. And these will show because I've registered time on it. So now I'm also an allocation for that. So the great thing about the timesheet is that you can easily find your work registration and your absence registration in the bottom, as I showed you before. So here's a few tips for registering absence. Let's change my view to my favorites because I know I marked my favorite absence in here. So what you can do is you can easily set in your, let's say, vacation. I have this set up for days in here. So I say, well, this is a vacation day and this is a vacation day. Let's say I have 2 weeks of vacation. That's going to mean like a long time for me to just click every field. So that's just silly. So what I can actually do is I can click the menu here and say, no, I want to register for several days. When I click this, I can just add the date filter in here and select my period. So let's say I would like to set the whole week. So this is a whole week, the 11th here. So this is a whole week. And I say vacation and save it. You can see that all the fields are now set in with my vacation. So this is an easy way. So if you have longer periods of vacation or illness or maternity or whatever it could be as your absent code, you can easily register several days. An extra tip is also if you use approval. Sometimes we hear that if you have approved absence in here and, oh, it was a mistake or you're not going to hold that vacation either way, you can actually just remove the absent right here if it's already been approved in the menu as well. So this is also just a trick for you to see. So I have now shown you how you can use the fast track for registrations. We looked into the search filters and how to navigate in the timesheet and the detailed timesheet. We also went through marking your favorite task and the best view option to show them. So before ending, I would like to show you the page settings for the timesheet. So the page settings you'll find up in here. These are your page settings. So this is the page setting for the timesheet. So what I would like to show you is just go through them one by one. Just a quick one here. This is your default view. So when you enter the timesheet, do you want to see the timesheet or go into the detailed timesheet? You can actually change it in here. The same as the period. Often you set it as this week, but sometimes some people want to show, I always go in to see last week. So this is just the setup you can see set for which period do you want to show. Again, which project and task, which view do you want? It can be a really good tip to change it to show favorites, because then you won't have to load all the tasks, and you can mark your favorites and then see them and easily just register time on it. There's some preferences as well. Like if you want to automatically mark your task that you register on as favorite, you can show the comment box in the timesheet and in the fast track, and all these settings in here. So this can also vary depending on your settings within within TimeLog. Again, as I showed you with the fast track, you can have settings for the search. Most often it's search in my task, which is default, but you can change it to search in old task. This will, of course, then show you more tasks available. So just be aware that if you can't find it, then you can easily just change it. The data in here, if you want to sort it by project name or customer name. But you can also show week numbers, customer column in detail if you want to show the customer, which customer you're tracking time on, and also the task number. Some use the task number instead of the name. So this can also be a view for you here. And then we also have the layout. I'm not sure if many of you have seen it, but the standard view that I showed you before, I can also change it to a compact view. Just want to show you how this looks. So this is how it looks right now. If I just update the page, you'll see that this is a compact view. So you see it's smaller, it's more collapsed. So this is also, if you prefer this, if you have a lot of tasks, you need to scroll a lot, if you have lots of favorites or lots of registrations on different tasks, use the compact view. That's really good for you as well. So as you can see in the page settings that I just went through, we also, you also might have seen the option to activate the stopwatch. I personally love this function because you can across the site start and stop your tracking no matter what site you're on. If you're on a project, if you're in a task, if you're in the resource group or whatever, you can use it in here. Be aware that this is a setting that the system administrator needs to set up before each employee can use it. So if I activate it here, you can see up in the corner right here, there's nothing. If I update the page, a small task here will show. So right now I'm not tracking any time. If I click on it, you can also see I'm not tracking any time. I can actually start the tracking with two options. I can either go into the fast track. Let's say I want to start my tracking on the meeting again. You can see that there's a new tag here. I can actually start the tracking. And this means that I'm beginning it right now. So this is a stopwatch that just calculates the time and starts the tracking. If I say, oh, I want to change it now, but I don't want to use the fast track, it's already a favorite marking, you see that the tags here are now visible in the detailed timesheet. So if I know, no, I'm not going to track time on this anymore, it's actually going to be on another task. I have like this making calls task. I'm just going to start it right here. Say OK. And then the other registration stops and the new one starts. So if I'm on another page, I can also just go in here and say stop my tracking. It's really nice feature in here. This was some of my best tips and tricks to the timesheet. So